Okay, welcome everyone who's joining us today for our nonprofit leader panel on how to raise more through virtual events. We're really excited for today's monthly nonprofit leader panel. Our goal, as always, of our monthly panel discussion is to gain insight and practical tips that you can put into action to help you grow your digital fundraising. Shared by real fundraisers who have done it for themselves. So for today's panel, we're honored to have Emma Kugel from Summit Assistance Dogs and Kim Searles from Arizona Friends of Foster Children Foundation. We are recording today's webinar and we'll be sending out the link to that recording afterward. So you can always share it with your team and replay it later, and we'll be doing about a 10-minute Q&A session at the end. So feel free to submit any questions you may have into the questions pane, and we'll get to them in just a little bit. As you can see our agenda for today real quick, we're going to go over some examples of our guests' virtual events and best practices that we've learned along the way, how to raise more through your virtual event, and then the Q&A, of course. So before diving in, I just want to share a little bit about CauseVox. With CauseVox, you can raise more with less effort. So unlike other software that's clunky, complex, expensive, CauseVox helps you tidy up your fundraising. When you use CauseVox, you get less frustration, less clunk, less wasted effort on admin, and so less complexity in your fundraising overall. Also, less robots answering your phone calls. You're probably likely to get me responding to your questions along the way. So you're able to grow your fundraising with less effort. This means that you have more time to focus on fundraising strategy and your relationships to your donors, helping you engage existing donors and acquire new ones easily so that you can create more impact for your mission. We've seen thousands of organizations use CauseVox to get more donations with our customizable mobile optimized donation pages, as well as our crowdfunding, events, and peer-to-peer fundraising sites. So you can run a comprehensive digital fundraising strategy with less hassle, all under one roof. So yeah, we've seen a lot of organizations grow tremendously when given the opportunity to tidy up their fundraising, and a couple of them are with us today. I'm so glad to have Emma and Kim here to talk about their virtual fundraising strategy. So I would love to introduce, Emma Kugel. Emma is the Donor Relations Associate at Summit Assistance Dogs. So Emma, if you'd like to just tell us a little bit about how you got started in your position and a little bit about the organization. We'd love to hear from you.
Sure, yeah. So as Jenna said, my name is Emma, and I work in donor relations at Summit Assistance Dogs. And before I worked in this position, my work focused in communications and documentary video production. And within that work, I did a lot of work with nonprofits on their storytelling and how their storytelling can meet their goals, whether it be for fundraising or another initiative that they had. Also, kind of within the documentary work, I also did event planning and some fundraising for those projects as well. So with the current position that I'm in at some Assistance Dogs, it kind of combines all of that together. It's fundraising, event planning, communications, and so it's a really great combination of things. And I'm also particularly interested in nonprofits and causes that focus on animal-human welfare. And at Summit, what we do is train and place highly skilled service dogs with people living with mobility disabilities. So our dogs assist people with opening and closing doors, turning light switches on and off, picking up dropped items. And in addition to those physical tasks, the dogs also really help our clients live with greater independence and confidence.
It's wonderful. Thank you so much for sharing. It's such an incredible cause. And so also, Kim, we'd love to hear your background and experience and how you got started with Arizona Friends.
Sure. So, like a lot of people, when I got out of college, I went straight into for-profit world and worked there for several years. And then I had my first child and decided I need to do something a little bit more meaningful if I'm going to be away from my family for the course of 8 hours or more a day. And so I made the jump and actually went to a humane society first, been in and out of several different nonprofits, and I was out of work for a while. And I started building websites on my own and came across Arizona Friends from a friend who was on the board, and eventually joined the staff. And now I'm the outreach coordinator. And that just kind of encompasses a little bit of everything, kind of as Emma mentioned with her position, jack of all trades kind of. So I'm marketing, volunteer coordinating, and then also a lot of donor involvement there. So
Yeah, wow, I can imagine. I worked in the nonprofit world for a little bit, so I can understand how, like, the juggling of those hats. So especially when it comes to fundraising for the organization, I imagine that, traditionally you would have in-person events, and then those ended up being canceled recently. I was wondering if you could tell us how you were able to raise funds online through your your first virtual fundraising event, and we can start. Either of you can just jump right in. This is for both Emma and Kim.
So I can start. So every year, Summit Assistance Dogs has a spring luncheon called Unleash Your Love, and it's our biggest fundraising event for the year and attracts about 700 attendees. And in March, we had to decide what we were going to do about this event because of COVID-19. The event was scheduled for early May. And so we had to decide, are we going to postpone this fundraiser? Are we going to wait and see how things are closer to the date? Or do we want to transition the event to something virtual pretty quickly? So we decided to transition the event to a virtual fundraiser. And this was Summit's first time doing something like this. And we chose this option because we felt that our donor base would be on board for something like this. And it was also an opportunity to see how a virtual event would go for the organization. So as you can see on the screen, we have our campaign there, and it was active for a month. So it was a month-long campaign that culminated in a live program at the end of the virtual campaign that was similar to what we do at our in-person luncheon. And so you can see that video on the left is our live program that now you can just play and watch. And then on the right, you see we raised $185,000. And when the campaign was active, we did have the bar for reaching our goal. Our goal was to raise $175,000. And with that, if we reached that, we would get a $25,000 match. So as you can see, we exceeded that and did $185,000, which was really great. So the page talks about, what Summit does, how to donate. We include more media about other Summit videos. We have our sponsors as well listed on the page. So yeah, that's kind of the basis for how we transitioned things to a virtual fundraising event.
Yeah, that was just incredible work. I saw that you got so many people involved, and it was so interesting how the fundraiser pages tell us how you sort of tailored our fundraiser pages to make them, to make them into something that's viable for your event.
Yeah, so our fundraiser pages included, so you can create a template on each page. And so it's a default template where if someone joins your campaign to do peer-to-peer fundraising, it is customized to what you want, an example for what people can use. So as you can see on the page, it looks like this was the default template that we created. So that means when people joined the campaign as a fundraiser, this was already on their page. They didn't have to do anything further if they didn't want to. So it made it very easy for people joining the campaign. And so we wrote something up specific to Summit, about Summit, what are we fundraising for? And then if you scroll down on the page, we also included a video showcasing one of our teams, and then a photo as well. And then we also advertised or promoted our visit, the main page that we first looked at to watch our live program there on Thursday, May 7th. So it links back to our main page so that people knew, even if they just went to the fundraiser page, we have our main campaign page as well. And that's where you can watch our live program.
Yeah, so great. Yeah, I just loved how you kind of changed the language to make the pages tables instead of just a regular fundraiser page. So it keeps the whole theme. I just thought that was great.
Oh, thank you. Yeah.
And so that's awesome. Thank you so much for sharing, Emma. And Kim, I know that you have quite a different virtual event that you put online. Do you want to share a little bit about your event?
Yeah, sure. So one of the things I neglected to say earlier is kind of a little bit of what we do at Arizona Friends of Foster Children Foundation. And so real quickly, what we do is we fund athletic activities, education, and other items that are needed for kids who are in foster care in Arizona so that they can have a normal childhood while they're living through a really tough time. A few years ago, about 6 or 7 years ago, we started to think really, how are we affecting for youth who are on the verge of aging out, because the stats weren't looking that good. So we created our Keys to Success program, which helps youth with that are ages 16 to 24, and it helps them with career development services, a lot of practicing, helping them with finishing their education, whether it's GED or high school, or even going on to community college and so forth, and then helping them find sustainable living wage employment. So that's the goal, and to keep them out of the statistics that you hear about kids aging out of foster care. So part of that, we created a Keys to Success program, and part of that program, we have a youth advisory board. So these are kids who have actually been through the program, have succeeded, some of them are still in the program, and they want to continue being in the program, and they want to help kids. They want to basically change the program to help kids the best way possible. So as you can see there, we have pictures of our youth advisory board there, which has since grown since this campaign's taken off, which is a great thing. But really, this event was something they had conceived earlier this year, maybe even later last year, back in 2019, toward the end of it. They wanted to do an event to raise money for the program that had helped them so much. And we were like, hey, that's great. And they were really adamant about it coming from their voice. And so we created this virtual walk because a volunteer who was helping with the youth advisory board did some research and realized, oh my gosh, it's going to be at least a year out before we can actually do this thing with all the permits you have to get and everything else. And so we decided to take it online and do a virtual walk. As we were planning this, it was right in the middle of it is when COVID hit. And so it really just reinforced our decision that this is the way to go. So we did a walk, and originally we were gonna have a day where we were gonna invite people to come meet us at a certain place, wear their walk t-shirts, and we were just gonna try and make a subtle statement to help the kids in the Keys to Success program. So as you can see, we reached our goal. Our original goal was $10,000. And we reached that within about 2.5 weeks of launching. The campaign launched on April 16th and just ended up on May 31st. So we did a stretch goal. Let's see how much further we can go. So we added a goal of $20,000, which was great and was able to keep our folks engaged. We specifically chose the time for our event to coincide with Foster Care Awareness Month, which is in May. We wanted the additional 2 weeks toward the end of April, just to kind of make sure this is the first time we've ever done it, if there were any kinks to be worked out. And I'm happy to say there were no kinks to be worked out. And so, really we made the pages similar to Emma and their organization. We did make some pages that were customizable. We did provide some spaces where they could put their own impact statement there. We wanted to have a placeholder because sometimes people would get confused. And as you can see there, that's my son's actual fundraiser page. And so he set it up, and he's 11. So if 11-year-old can set it up, anybody can set it up. I will put it to you that way. And, he put his personal statement in there that he wants to help kids in foster care because I work there. And, he's heard the stories and he's been with me at work. And so he sees it. So that's his personal statement. We thought that that would be good for our general appeal page, for our main page. If you go back to it, we felt it was really important for this voice to come from the youth themselves. So the video that we posted there is actually of the youth that are in the program, describing what their life was like before it, and then afterward, what the programs help them do and to accomplish. So really powerful statement there. And then really the rest of this information there comes from the youth themselves. So it's all their voice, it's their input on how to make this work. And I think that was really good. We added photos of actual youth in the program, not just youth on the advisory board. You'll see the two young ladies there. The one on the right is a young lady who was actually just had the confidence and walked right in to ask for a job and got it. So she wouldn't have been able to do that without the skills that she had learned from the Keys to Success program. So being able to talk about those items is definitely helpful.
Wow. Yeah, that's incredible. Thank you for sharing, Emma and Kim. I love the personalization on the Keys to Success page as well. Always, as you can make it, the more personal, the better, I think sometimes. So really important work, really incredible job with the campaigns. Being a virtual event, I think maybe a lot of people have that question of, well, what does it actually look like? How do you make the event go virtual? What's the beginning to end kind of look and feel of the actual event that is virtual or, digital? So I'm wondering if maybe both Emma and Kim, if you could share specifically about the day of and tell us a little bit about what made it successful. What it looks like and what made it successful for you.
Yeah, so for the Day of Live program that we did, so we put together a 25-minute live program that we saw on the main page of our campaign. And we tried to make that live program as similar to our in-person luncheon as we could. So we had an MC host the live program, and then we had a lot of different videos within that video, and something that makes our in-person luncheon particularly unique is the attendees get to be there with a lot of our clients and their dogs. So they really get to actually see the partnerships that we create. And so it was really important to us to keep that as a big part of our month-long fundraiser, and especially the live program. So we worked with an external company to kind of put together the larger 25-minute piece. And then within that, we had the MC, we had a video from our executive director, and then we had several other videos as well that included a professionally put together video that we had been working on before the pandemic. And then videos from our clients as well. We worked on some projects with them to highlight their voices and their partnerships in the program. So several of our clients read letters that they wrote to their dogs, or letters from people who participate in our prison program and help train the dogs. And so just trying to make it as personal and really just showing the impact that the program has on people's lives, and also the positive impact that it has on our dogs. So making sure that we kept all of that kind of front and center for like the day of was really important. And then also, of course, conveying that throughout the entire month, both on our campaign page and the communications that we did. So for the live program, we had that premiere. We used YouTube to premiere it on May 7th at 12 p.m. That was the time of our original luncheon. So we already had people who were planning for that time. So we figured that would be, just keep it. So we embedded the YouTube video on our CauseVox page, and we got people to attend by promoting it on our campaign page, on the fundraiser pages that we looked at, also through our email communication, social media, so a variety of ways to help encourage people to attend. And on the day of, I believe we had about 100 people attend the live event, and then it has about 300, it has at least 300 views today. So it's been viewed since then, which is really great. And when I say live program, it was kind of the live premiere of the video. We had already had it compiled and ready to go. So just to kind of clarify that.
Good nuance there.
Yeah.
It can be done different ways, but you chose the pre-recorded method. That's sort of what, yep. And then aired. That's good. That's great. Thank you so much for sharing. We'll dive into a little bit more specifics in a little bit, but want to hear Kim's version for her organization as well.
So we kept our day of fluid. Originally, we were going to do something around the early part of May as a kickoff event for the virtual walk. And, you know, the end of March, our governor here in Arizona put in the quarantine restrictions. And so that we had to be really fluid with what we wanted to do. The restrictions lifted at the beginning of May. And so we shot for May 16th for a day of event where folks could join us in person to walk at a certain location with their t-shirts on, or we encourage people to, if they're more comfortable staying in their own neighborhoods, maybe walking to their local park or just taking a bike ride around their neighborhood with their shirts on, taking photos and you know, sharing. We had a hashtag of do the virtual walk so that folks could share that and we could all kind of convene at our own time. And really one of the driving forces of our campaign was this is a fundraiser that you can do as you want. You don't have to follow any certain rules. You can decide if you want to run for your miles that you want to do, you can do that. You can hit the treadmill or, you know, just walking around in your own backyard. So whatever made you comfortable, how we wanted to do. So our day of event, we worked with a local restaurant and in the area and arranged to have our walkers buy them either a coffee or a smoothie just to kind of get them pumped up and ready to go. And then we didn't have a huge turnout. We didn't expect a huge turnout because of COVID, but we still had a nice turnaround. Some of the youth actually in the program were there on hand, as well as some staff. And so it really made a great day for us.
That's great. So it's kind of like, it was partially in person with the end restaurant kind of celebration aspect, but it was, the participants were sort of on their own, doing their walk on their own on behalf of the org.
Really kind of off on your own, do your own thing, and you know, tell us about it. So
yeah, that's great. Did you end up having any sort of were the participants at all interacting with one another, either online, or was it just
I think you know, I don't know how they interacted. I don't know if they interacted together or among each other, but we had a couple of our donors, Chris being one there, that's on the screen, where they were in, you could tell, a virtual competition to raise the most money. And so it was kind of fun to watch, to see them like kind of pony off of each other every day between our first two donor fundraiser. They were fun to watch. You know, what was it was the first team there, the match Kat Michaels, had set a goal of walking a certain set of miles in the Arizona desert. She updates to encourage folks to keep tabs on them. As you'll see, they didn't figure out how to take out that placeholder for a photo. But, you know, she has a really great compelling thing. She kind of took the way of, I'm going to hikes and the photos. And so I think she had a goal of walking 100 miles. I can't say, but she really kind of drove it home. If back to the other fundraiser, the one that's Chris LeBlanc, he had a different appeal for his fundraising appeal. He actually had a value proposition there. If he meets his goal before June 1st, he's going to walk to work in Phoenix in June for the whole month. So that was kind of fun to see him make it. He's my coworker, so that was even more fun to see that he reached his goal. He actually, I think, almost doubled his goal. And you know, there's the note, if it's over 120, he's only walking to the light rail. The good news is he only has to walk from his bedroom to his living room now, so, because we're all still working from home.
Yes, yes. Well, he did a great job. And speaking of fundraisers, you know, I think it would be a great time to sort of talk about how you both were able to engage your fundraisers to participate in the virtual event. So how did you identify the participants and recruit them and then prepare them for success?
Yeah, so when we switched our luncheon to the virtual event, we already had been working with table captains for the in-person event. So we let our table captains know that we were transitioning to a virtual format and that the table captain role was going to change to virtual table captain or fundraiser, as it's called on CauseVox. And also, since the event became virtual, we were actually able to reach out to some supporters and volunteers outside of Washington State so they could participate in the fundraiser as well. So it was really great to be able to expand that reach. And we selected those people based on their engagement and relationship with the organization. So we prepped our fundraisers by revising what was our original table captain packet to the virtual table captain packet, which is also basically our fundraiser toolkit. And I will show that. Let me pull that up here.
Sure, that would be great. Yeah, we do provide that template for organizations so that they're able to tailor it to their own needs. Okay, perfect.
Okay, so, you know, we just changed it for the sake of our table captains. We just kind of kept the name table captain to virtual table captain, so it would be a smooth transition for people. And so this was kind of our revised promo postcard for the event. And then, so in this packet, we had a note from our executive director, and then we included just kind of frequent questions that people might have about the virtual event. So like, what is the virtual giving event? When is it? When can people start donating? What does the campaign support? What is the live event that we're having? Where can people view it? What's a virtual table captain or fundraiser? When should I sign up? And who should I contact if I have questions? So that was a resource for our fundraisers for themselves, and also if other people had questions to them that they were for them when they were sending out information about our campaign to their contacts and community. So we included an overview of basically the fundraiser role, you know, what are the goals for this role, and then how to get started, which is basically, you know, you create your personal fundraiser page, And then just some additional tips, like you can revise your fundraising goal. There are different tools, you can publish updates, and a note about team pages in case people were interested in that. And then we also kind of laid out more of a step-by-step process for people. So sign up, figure out your process, suggestions for how often people should contact the people that they're reaching out to support their individual fundraising goals for Summit. And then suggestions for publishing updates, tuning in, like when to thank people and how to thank people. And then we also included templates for correspondence. So some email templates. We have several in the packet, kind of 3 emails as a basis. And then also social media templates if people wanted to share their fundraising pages on social media. So a few options for those. And then we also provided additional resources. So the fundraisers could have them on hand. So our website, our mission, our social media links, our social media tag, the hashtag for the fundraiser, and then videos as well that people can include in their emails or on their fundraiser pages on CauseVox as well. So then after that, we also created a user guide for CauseVox. So for people who like kind of using the tools on their own and looking through kind of step-by-step how to, they would have this resource. So we kind of gathered the photos and shared the steps and directions for how to do a lot of different things, just from logging into the fundraiser pages to how to publish updates, how to adjust their fundraising goal or their templates, and how to make a donation, just so people would have that on hand. And then we also did a couple other things as well. We really made sure to provide customized support to our fundraisers. So we worked one-on-one with them if they needed it to set up their pages, and we helped them craft emails to people they wanted to contact for donations if they wanted to do that. And then, as I mentioned before, we made sure that, they had a good default picture on their fundraiser page, and also a more personalized template on their fundraiser page as well. So if they just wanted to sign up and start sending out their page, they could do that, or customize it as much as they want.
That's wonderful. Thank you so much. That's such a thorough and really personalized toolkit. I loved the way that you just crafted all that language for them to make it seamless and just really simple. Yeah, like how far in advance did you provide that toolkit for your fundraisers? What was the timeline between for just distributing it and then actually having them launch their pages and going live, etc.?
So we got that out as soon as we could because we were on a tight timeline for the campaign. So in March, we started making all these changes, transitioning the luncheon to the virtual event. And we sent out that packet in early April. So people had about a month. They had about probably a few days before we made really promoted the campaign to get started. So we encouraged people to create their fundraiser pages as soon as they could.
Gotcha. So gave them about a week or so.
Yeah.
This week. Okay, great. And I just a reminder, was your first virtual event with Summit?
Yes.
Okay, sure. Just curious if you had noticed any change between like if you had done a virtual event without the toolkit versus with the toolkit. But maybe did you notice any feedback from your fundraisers, or like any specific point that they really appreciated about the toolkit?
Yeah, people found the resources in the toolkit very helpful. And so having something to work from was really helpful. So the template, so people could use aspects of it if they want, use the whole template, or just write their own thing, and maybe it'll give them ideas. But I think when the fundraisers have something like to work based off of, it's really useful for them to be able to be successful as a fundraiser. So they thought a lot of people were really appreciative of the organization and support that we were able to provide.
Gotcha. Well, that's terrific. Thank you so much. And Kim, so what was your experience with your fundraisers, and how did you choose to equip them for success?
So much in the same way, we put a lot of effort up front into everything as easy as possible, that when somebody decided to register to participate as a fundraiser, we wanted them to have everything they needed right off the bat and not have to be like, I'm not sure about this, or kind of wavering, and maybe I don't want to do this at all. So what we did was we targeted our supporters. We took a look at all of our donors and who had donated to our Keys to Success program. So we targeted these folks first with an email campaign, reaching out to them to let them know, hey, we're launching this. You can come, provide the link for them. And then we also did with caregivers, because sometimes, like with these sorts of events, we're not asking for $1,000 donation or above. We're looking for somebody just to chip in, kind of like they would to a political campaign, even, 10, 15, 20 bucks, whatever they can do. And we feel like that's a reasonable ask to fundraisers, to ask their friends and families and coworkers that you just put to help me. And so then somebody registered, got a link to basically a Google Drive that had all of our tools in there. And give me just a second, I can show you what we did. And then and for some reason I can't share it at the moment.
Okay.
Give me just 1 second here.
I like the idea of the Google Drive, though.
So yeah, we did a Google Drive. Whatever reason, I am so sorry, I cannot this work without restarting my computer, apparently. Sorry about that. And if you need it, you can share that with you at a different time. So what we did was we created a welcome page, a welcome kit, and it basically, again, from the voice of the kids and the Youth Advisory Board program. So it's from kids for kids. Hey, we're here to help you if you have questions. So our page had very similar kind of things, just information about, okay, here we go. Information about what the walk is. So frequently asked questions here is what we have. How to track your miles, because, there wasn't really a set way to do that. So we encourage them to use their updates feature. We let them know what that feature is. One of the things we did for incentives was trying to have a contest between most miles walked, most funds raised, and most creative costume, because what we found is people like to dress up for a virtual walk or for walks and runs. What we've learned and since then is that they don't do it mostly for virtual things. So, I searched through our hashtag of do the virtual walk, couldn't find any creative costumes there. So maybe next year we'll get that. But it was still a fun thought. So we just had all sorts of things really in our branding using the hashtag, so people would be encouraged to use it. And then our virtual walk welcome here. So again, this is the next step. So you've created your, you've signed, here's what you do next. So create your fundraising page, set your goals. All of this is still from the advice from the point of view of our Keys to Success Youth Advisory Board. So build your list. And then we also provided them too with sample emails. So all sorts of sample emails that they could do. So they can run, here's some tag you can create just for you. They didn't have to use this. They didn't have to be married to it, but it was certainly to kind of help them along. So we tried to break it down into like a kickoff email. Hey, I just started this. And then some ideas for following up like 7 to 10 days later. Hey, did you email, that sort of thing, or I'm halfway there, can you help me finish it out? And then last chances. So we tried to remind our folks of that every so often. And then one other quick thing I will show you, we had some social media posts samples that I can show you. So we kind of like had some prepared social media images we could use that were of the kids in the Youth Advisory Program. So we gave them ideas for long platforms like Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, and then short form platforms as well. So more like your Twitter and vice versa. And so, yeah, we kind of did that the same way we did our emails, you know, when we're getting started, just announcing that you've done this, and then halfway through, and then towards the end, and then an end of it, you know, so that they could thank their supporters and their friends and family who helped them reach their goal, or even if they didn't reach their goal, you know, to help them make a little progress there. So that's kind of what we did. The toolkit was a really vital part of that. So we feel like we didn't have a lot of questions from people who registered. I think having that information there right off the bat was really good. And then using the updates feature to tweak, so to let folks know, hey, we're gonna stretch this goal out to 20,000. We hit our goal and it's just the beginning of May. So we wanna keep foster care awareness at the forefront of our supporters and their friends and families' minds. So we stretched our goal out, used the updates feature to kind of push that out, and push that out also through all of our social media channels.
Yeah, I really appreciate the way that you took advantage of reaching your networks through social media and making that a prominent feature of your toolkit. To both of your organizations, I think you guys did an incredible job, not only with the content, but also the layout, just really very professional, really thoughtful. So I think that definitely played a large role in the success of your fundraisers, which is wonderful. Maybe we can just walk through a couple more questions before we move on. If you want to just tell us, I know that you know, you both were able to exceed your funding goals. So I guess my question is, you know, how were you able to reach and exceed them using our, you know, the donation form and the campaign site, or if there was something else more specific that you thought was vital to the fundraising success of your campaign, you're free to share that as well.
Yeah, so we made CauseVox kind of obviously a gathering place for the virtual event. And we used a lot of the tools on CauseVox, like the updates to keep people, to keep donors and people visiting the page updated. And using a lot of the CauseVox tools, like being able to integrate the media was very helpful. So people could just visit the page and see a lot of our videos. Also, customizing the donation form was a really great feature for us, and something that really stood out about CauseVox as well. So with the donation form, we were able to customize these tiers and also provide descriptions of what each tier can help support. And we just had a lot of options to be able to customize that and make it user-friendly for the people who are donating, such as, you know, do we want this automatically checked or not checked? Does the donor want their name anonymous with their donation, or do they want their name there? That was something for our donors that they really appreciated, that feature to make people comfortable. And we could also decide what sort of information we would ask people for, like, do we want to get their addresses or their phone numbers or whatever else. So being able to have that flexibility with the donation form was really helpful in meeting what works, you know, what we are looking for our donors and what works for them. And what else? We were also able to save money, of course, by doing a virtual event. And do you want me to maybe show some metrics for that, or?
Yeah, sure. That would be
Okay,
great if you have a minute or so.
great. So let me. So looking at this, you can see with our in-person luncheon last year, our revenue was $196,000 and we had $62,000 in expenses. Whereas for our virtual event this year, the revenue was around $179,000 and our expenses were a lot less at $11,000. So you can see with, making things work and using the CauseVox platform, we netted a lot of money compared to our in-person luncheon. So that was really exciting from doing this virtual event and using all of the features and the various promotion that we did during the campaign.
Yeah, that's a pretty significant amount there. I didn't realize how much you would be able to save. So thank you for sharing. Kim, if you could take a minute or two just to share your experience.
Yeah, so being that it's our first time of this event of this kind, we don't really have any metrics to go through, but looking at it, what really was nice about using CauseVox is that you have the tipping feature. So it practically makes CauseVox pay for itself because people are willing to pay that like extra fee to cover that and the credit card fees, which was super nice. I looked at it yesterday and I think probably 90% of our donors use the tipping function there, which is really nice. And, my boss, our executive director, wasn't really comfortable doing that. And I said, well, this is a short event. Let's try it and see how that would work. And if people don't respond, we can always take it off. And so within the first couple of days, we saw how people were just adding that on to their donation, and it was great. It was wonderful. And again, I think kind of piggybacking off of what Emma just said is really the ability to customize everything on CauseVox to make it fit our needs. So again, like the donation page, having those value propositions of what $20 would do, what $50 would do, what $100 does, it makes it really tangible for people who are going to donate or help their friend or family member out. And so just really making that aware to everyone, like it's just really easy to navigate. And again, we had maybe one person call with a question on how to navigate through doing a donation. But our program director for the KEYS program, she's not a very computer oriented person, and she was able to navigate through it just fine. And she's living proof that even the most computer challenged, technology challenged person can do this event and can participate. And so what we liked about it is that it opened up a lot of doors and gave us a lot of new contacts to work with as well. So in the coming months, we'll be able to hopefully do some donor stewardship with these new donors that we've acquired through this particular event. So
yeah, really, really wonderful. I'm so glad you're able to make this a successful campaign for your organization. I do want to be mindful of time, so I figure we could maybe jump into the Q&A, but before we do, I just want to make a quick couple announcements. If you, those who are participating today and you want more information about how to actually launch your own virtual event, we do have the Ultimate Virtual Fundraising course coming up. So you can pre-register for that 3-part virtual fundraising course before 6/16, so June 16th. It'll be $95 discounted price until that date. And then also, as Kim alluded to, we do have we did have platform fees associated with our pages and our campaign sites, but right now we're actually offering 0% fees for 0% platform fees. So that is accessible to anybody. So you can just email us at support@causevox.com to get more information about that. And then, yeah, I think, lastly, just as a reminder, with CauseVox, you can raise more with less effort. In running all of your donation pages, your crowdfunding and peer-to-peer fundraising in less time without the hassle. So without further ado, I want to get to these questions. They are really, really something. So many great, thoughtful questions. Let's see what we have here. So one is, and this is for both Kim and Emma, what are some common or not common virtual event pitfalls? Did you run into any?
I would say I don't think we really did. Again, not knowing what we were doing, kind of was to our advantage in a sense that we didn't know what the pitfalls could be. And I think as we went on, I think our biggest pitfall was not using the tools enough. Like we maybe could have engaged a little bit more, and maybe that's just me for like my bar set higher. But yeah, just maybe not engaging enough. More engagement with our base. We tried to be really engaging on our social media channels and through our emails, but we probably could have done more with our updates and really kind of engaged everyone in that regard.
Sure, thank you.
Yeah, I'm not sure that we had any sort of pitfalls either. I think ideally, you can have more time to set up your virtual event and get everything in order. And we were able to make it work, which was really great. But of course, in a different, more normal situations, just making sure to plan carefully and plan ahead and get it as organized and as smooth as possible for everyone is really important.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you. I have a lot of questions here. How do you engage the board of directors with a virtual fundraising event? So I don't know, did you guys have any sort of difference, difficulty approaching, or what was your experience?
For us, the virtual event was actually a really great way to engage all of our board of directors, because for our in-person luncheon, not all of them can participate in that as our table captains. So with the virtual event, we were able to get all of our board of directors to become fundraisers and to be really active in the campaign. So it worked out, that change actually worked out really well in kind of increasing that engagement with them. And yeah, we just kind of went about it with talking to them and communication and encouraging them to join in. So
Great.
Yeah, so again, it's kind of the same as what Emma said. It was really an opportunity for more board members to get engaged, whether they became a fundraiser themselves or just sharing out the information. We had one of our board members who didn't necessarily want to do the fundraising himself, so he made a point to put funds into every of our youth advisory board members who had a page. He made sure to donate to each of those pages, so those kids would get a little boost in their efforts to raise funds among their peers. And I think with our youth, really it's easy, because our youth that are driving this event, more so than our traditional board members, but our youth advisory board members, they're busy, they're in school, they have jobs, and this was a great way for them to just kind of push this out a little bit, using the things that they're comfortable with: social media, email, these different channels. So really kind of targeting that was a kind of a bonus for us. So
Incredible. Awesome. I do have one more that I wanted to get to. There are so many here. By the way, if we don't get to your question, please feel free to email us at support.causevox.com, and we'll definitely respond that way. Let's see. So how do you ensure that people attend the virtual event? this individual is saying we get a lot of interest and then no one attends. How did you manage resolving that?
It is challenging to get people, I guess, for specifically our live program on May 7th to ensure that they attend. And we did a lot of promotion for it, and all of the email communications we sent out on social media, we were doing a lot of promotion for it. And we also, let me think, I lost my train of thought. So we really just had that front and center. And do you want to go ahead, Kim? I had something to say, but I totally I had something specific and it just
Sure.
disappeared.
Yeah. Well, for us, our day of event wasn't the main focus of our event. So really encouraging folks to engage. We did the best we could. We didn't get a ton of engagement that we would have wanted. So I guess maybe that's the pitfall therein. But I think a lot of it has to do with the extraordinary circumstances that, are surrounding us right now with, curfews and quarantines and everything like that. So I think people weren't as willing to step out and engage as much as we would have liked. But, being able to encourage folks, I think having the hashtag was a fun way, an easy way to get folks to, kind of talk about it on their channels. And I think, we're already planning for next year. So I think, knowing what we know now, we'll have even more success in the year to come with, next year, hopefully things will be different and we'll have that day of event, that kickoff event that we plan to have this year. And so, yeah, it's really kind of hard to measure at this point in time. But next year we'll have a lot better idea of where we're going.
Yeah, sure. That's great. And so, Emma, I don't know if you remembered your point.
Yeah, it's similar to what Kim said, just really making sure to get it out there, but also balancing the promotion, especially on social media, of not going too overboard with it. And then also using tools on social media, like creating the event so people have that to be able to join so they get reminders about it, or at least see it on our social media pages. So
great. Perfect. Great tips there. How about this one? Did you have sponsors for your virtual events? And was it strictly peer-to-peer fundraising? If so, how did you honor or highlight them?
So we did have sponsors for our virtual event, and well, they basically transferred from our in-person luncheon. And so we went to our sponsors and told them about the change and to see if they were still on board. So it was great because they were. And we did also list our sponsors on our CauseVox page, so they would, get that promotion. And then what was the second part of the question?
How did you honor or highlight them?
So we highlighted the sponsors by having them on the CauseVox page. Yep, so you can see our gold level and our bronze level. And then also in the live program that we did, we included slides and information about each of the sponsors.
Oh, great. That's wonderful. Awesome. How about you, Kim?
Yeah, so we had one sponsor for the event, being that it's our first one again. As the point where we decided, okay, we're going to push this, we're going to do it. We, even at the end of February, beginning of March, we still weren't 100% sure that we would move forward with the event. Once we did, the downfall to that was people were starting to pull back. The stock market was starting to show effects of the COVID crisis. And so we had a lot of folks that normally would be our sponsors that kind of just shied away from it for the time being. One of the good things of knowing now what we didn't know then is, that's something that we're able to seek out in future grant appeals and maybe reach them sooner than, maybe a couple of months before the event actually kicks off. So.
Okay, great. I do have one question for Emma. Do you think the pre-recorded live program is better than trying to run a live event to get participants to watch it or and be a part of it?
So one of the reasons we decided to do the pre-recorded was because there's just been a lot of unknowns with what's been going on with COVID-19. And so would we be able, to get together and do the live program? So it was kind of, it was safer to do it that way. And it turned out really well. We had about 100 people tune in live, and then it's had over 300 views since then. So we consider that good for the live program. And we've never done a actual live broadcast online. So it's a little, I'm not sure I can speak on that exact comparison, but the Premiere, using the YouTube Premiere feature does make it feel as if it's live. So.
Good point. Okay, great. Thanks so much, Emma. And so for both Emma and Kim, this last question here, in hindsight, would you skip the live event and go more virtual? That's it.
For us, looking ahead to next year, we are so pleased with how the virtual event went. We definitely are, we want to keep doing a virtual fundraiser because it was our first time doing something like this, and we're just so happy that it was so successful. And for us, we kind of foresee doing a combination of both, because the virtual event was such a great opportunity to reach people outside of Washington State and where we usually have our luncheon, which is around the Seattle area. So we were able to get more clients involved and more supporters and donors across the country. So it was really cool being able to create that broader community. But there is also this aspect of the in-person luncheon of kind of gathering together that we are also looking to potentially, also do next year. So we kind of see a hybrid of like doing both.
I see. It's an interesting approach. I like that.
Yeah, I think for us, I really like the idea of next year having that kickoff event. I think having a kickoff event as opposed to an event later on in the month, I think it gets people more excited about the walk. So one of the nice things is what we did was we had the walk, the virtual event launched 2 weeks before May 1st. And so, having that kickoff at the beginning of May would have been really great to get people excited about Foster Care Awareness Month, to have our kids there present, to show them, that they are very much driving this event and are invested in it and can provide testimony as to why this program is important to support, and get people really jazzed, get them their event t-shirts and their goodie bags right off the bat. So we can cut down on the cost of mailing to begin with. And, just again, to get people really excited about it.
Mm-hmm.
So I think next year what we're going to look at doing is maybe having that event at the beginning of May, which for us in the desert is key because it does start to get a lot hotter here around that time. Yeah, I think it'll be a lot of fun to kind of see how that will play out.
Yeah, I'm excited for your future events. I think you have a lot of great insights to offer for your next round. And thank you for sharing them with us. I have one more question for Emma before we go here. Can you tell us a little bit about how you priced tickets and the virtual tables compared to what the price points would be for the live event?
So for both our live event and the virtual giving event, we don't, it's free for people to attend. And so, we don't really price anything. For the online event, we had the donation tiers where if people choose to do that, choose to select one of those tiers, they can. for our fundraisers to participate. They could just sign up and participate. We didn't have a base fundraising goal. And the same thing with the in-person event as well. We have it as something free to attend, no donation minimum or maximum or whatever. And we find that it works well for our donor community.
Okay. Wow, that's great. I like that freedom there for your participants. And so, yeah, I just really want to thank you both again so much, Emma Kugel and Kim Searles. Thank you so much for joining us and sharing all of your tips and insights to make your virtual event the most successful possible. And so I just want to remind everyone still watching that if you're looking to do your own virtual fundraising event, you can easily do that on CauseVox. And for more details and walking through virtual fundraising, definitely sign up for that virtual fundraising course. Candace is putting in the information in the chat right now, and you can find the information on our website. As always, if your question wasn't answered, or if you have any more questions for us at CauseVox or for our speakers today, you can email us at support@causevox.com. So again, thank you so much. And I just want to say enjoy the rest of your day, everyone. Take care.